Hello ladies and gentlemen, Willie here. It may be a little bit late to be doing this kind of video, but I wanted to go over what preparation I've been putting in game in anticipation of the expected Burning Crusade announcement to come at Blizzcon. And I feel like I'm going to see this in the comments, so the obligatory "this is why the economy needs to be reset" and so on and so forth, which, you know, I don't entirely disagree with. I just don't feel that there is a good way to do it. And saying that, I've been buying stuff and then selling it for each new phase release of Classic. We know exactly what's going to be coming out, what'll be good, what'll be more in demand, so you might as well do this kind of thing, to be honest. There's no reason not to. The Burning Crusade is just like a very big new phase, except the things you can buy beforehand are a lot more limited compared to how prices will be for the new things to come, at least early on. And despite the levels of prep I put in, which I think are, you know, not completely over the top, but reasonable, I'm still pretty much expecting to be kind of broke after having bought Epic Flying as well as the crafted profession gear early on. So to start off, as you may know, I have a lot of alts, and well, I might as well put them to good use. The tailoring cooldowns for Spellcloth, Mooncloth and Shadow Weave should all be available from level 60 with 350 in the tailoring profession. Within the tailoring profession, you can pick a specialization from these NPCs here within Shatrath, and they will send you off on a quest to basically go and do what you'll be doing for the cooldown. The Spellcloth, you just need to craft it somewhere in Netherstorm. A lot of people craft it within Area 52, so the guards can take out the elemental before it one-shots you, especially if you're trying to do this at level 60. Mooncloth is using the Moonwell in Cenarian Hold, and Shadow Weave is at the Altar of Shadows in Shadowmoon Valley, the bit where Gul'dan is. The important thing to remember is these do not share a cooldown between each other, though you can only specialize in one. And the idea behind the specialization is you'll be able to make 2 per reset instead of 1. And if you did want to change specialization, that'll cost you 150 gold. So those summoning alts you see in Classic at the moment for getting world buffs are probably still going to be seeing quite a bit of play early on if you want to ferry around your guild members to get their resets done and just help out the guild as a whole. On the alchemy side of things, the big attractive new thing is Transmutation Master, but from what I've seen, you need to be level 68 to have accepted this. Just like with tailoring, you don't need to be a master to create Primal Might, but baseline you'll only be able to create 1. With this quest done, you'll be able to create up to 5 on cooldown, which is going to be a big gold maker. You also actually need 4 Primal Mights to turn in the quest to be a Transmutation Master. So this is going to be a lot more setup intensive, but the payoff could equally be pretty huge. So assuming I've got enough gold to actually get hold of the materials to make the cooldown items, I should be turning over quite a few of those. Of course I need 350 tailoring as well, so that is going to be an enormous amount of netherweave that I need. In terms of other profession items I've got, jewel crafting will need quite a few materials from the old world to level, which not that many people will still be farming come TBC, so it makes sense to try and supply them, or at least have your own supply at the moment. In terms of what you can get, the breadth of items is huge. You pretty much go for any single bar or gem, including the green quality ones like silver or true silver. Myself, I've gone for mithril and true silver bars, as well as quite a bit of heavy stone, probably a little bit too much. Also I've got some gems, aquamarine, moss agate, tiger's eye. You could pretty much again pick any single gem you like and you'll be good. Thorium ore again is for jewel crafting, for prospecting gems. I think this will be a huge supply of gems early on, and you can even find really high tier ones in there as well, like Azerothian diamonds or arcane crystals. So this is just another reason that arcane crystals will start to fall off pretty heavily in TBC. Also the old world transmutes aren't on cooldown anymore. And finally I've got Flask of Mojo and Heart of the Wild, once again just for various crafts in jewel crafting. They're cheap at the moment, might as well pick some up. I imagine quite a lot of players will be going tailoring for a number of reasons. The passive income through the cooldown items we just went over, crafting the Bisque gear early on, making their own leg enchants. It's just a great profession for casters overall, so I've made quite a lot of bolts of silk, mage weave and runecloth, though I'm probably just going to be using the runecloth myself early on until I've leveled up enough to need netherweave. In fact, looking at this now, I'm going to need a whole lot more runecloth than I already have. Of course, the leatherworking could be huge if drums go in unchanged. Certain classes want it anyway, mainly for the crafted gear, but drums will be the real attraction that would cause an enormous surge in demand for leather. And not that many people are leatherworking at the moment, so they're going to be needing the materials from Eastern Kingdoms and Kalimdor. I'm kind of optimistic that they're going to be changing it. Obviously, if you expect drums to be in 100%, you think they're not going to be changed, it makes sense to stock up on a huge amount of leatherworking materials now. I've got more or less what I think I would need to level it up if it was unchanged, and for me, I think that's the way I'm going to go. Other items alchemy wise, I've got Ice Cap and Golden Sandsum. They're both used to level up in some early game TBC recipes to go past 300. They're currently both pretty cheap, so yeah, seems like that one makes sense to me, especially with people leveling up for the likes of Transmutes if you're playing that as your main or a character that you're leveling early on. I also have Bronze Blood and Ghost Mushroom, as well as the recipe for Demon Slaying, which you can get at a limited availability from Stonard in Swamp of Sorrows or Netherguard Keep in Blasted Lands for the Alliance. Despite being a vanilla tier elixir, this is going to be better than the actual attack power flask in TBC, so if people are min-maxing, which I'm sure they will be, they will want these. I think personally I have way too many professionals, and I'm probably not even going to end up using half of them properly until prices start going way down, just because I'm going to have such an enormous amount of stuff that I want to do at the same time. I am also considering swapping to mining and herbing on the rogue if dungeon runs end up being good as well. There are multiple dungeons which have mining nodes, herb spawns, as well as actual chests in there as well, which may end up being extremely lucrative because I'm expecting open world farming to just be insanely competitive pretty much all the time for months and months. It'll be dependent on the actual placement of the nodes though. Obviously if they're next to a bunch of packs that have mobs, then it's not going to be any good, but we'll see what happens with that once we have the beta. Also, you can get the rank 11 PvP mounts for 30 Aldrich Valley, Arathi Basin and Warsong Gulch marks as of the pre-patch, assuming there is one, or the new Black War LX or Hawk Strider, so if you want to be a special boy and stand out early on, you can do that. Of course, you can only farm 20 marks at the moment, but you could have them saved up for later. So that's where I'm at preparation-wise, not doing all that much groundbreaking to be honest. I more just need to figure out 1, how best to use all of my alts, and 2, when to actually sell stuff. Normally in Classic, it's always been sell in anticipation of the next phase announcement. However, I can't help but think a lot of people will suddenly start to come back following when it is announced, and especially at the point whenever the pre-patch happens. So it may be a little bit different this time around, and you need to sort of gauge that one a little bit for yourself. In any event, prices have definitely started moving up ahead of Blizzcon. At least on my server, I've seen a pretty big increase in more or less everything I've been buying since I've started putting my gold back into materials. And even if you're not one of these people who's into this level of preparation, there's no reason not to get some things done for your main, as in sorting out the professions that you want when TBC comes around, your secondary professions, especially first aid, there's no reason not to have that capped out, saving up a bit of gold now for flying or even the epic flying if you'll be able to afford that, and just, you know, the general stuff, tidying up the inventory, the bank, though we've still definitely got a few months of Classic left, so you'll have to let me know how you're preparing, if anything. As always though, thank you so much for watching and listening in, and I'll see you in the next one very soon.